While I'm here at Coffee Garden eating breakfast, a thought came across my mind. It reminded me of a time that I got confronted when I was on the streets. So this happened years ago, back when I was living in Atlanta with my boy Jordy. We were out on the street, walking around. We were over near Colony Square and High Museum of Art. And we'd been out there for hours. We were walking around. I hadn't really gotten anything that really spoke to me as an artist. And for me, around those times, I would go out without much direction. You know, whatever kind of jumped out at me, I would take a photo of. And so as we were by Colony Square and Starbucks, I saw a huge guy who looked like he lived in the gym. I mean, guy was jacked, I mean, swole, bigger than I am. And he was walking a poodle. And I thought that this was such a funny composition of this swole guy with this very effeminate dog, right? And so I said, okay, hey, I'm gonna take a photo of it. As soon as I go to lift my camera, I didn't even press the shutter before he yells out, hey, don't take a photo of me, right? He comes towards me and says, oh, hey man, did you take a photo of me? I don't want my photo taken. I said, well, no, I didn't take a photo of you. And he said, you better not have, I'll F you up out here. So as y'all know, I'm a grown man. You know, I'm pretty sure a lot of the people that watch my channel are adults. I don't appreciate being talked to any type of way. I told him to keep walking. He did. We killed the situation. But what I wanted to come on here and do is talk to you all about how to handle these type of confrontations when you're out doing street photography. Let's get into it. What's going on, guys and girls? Welcome back to the channel. So as you know, street photography can be rewarding. You can create and capture a lot of great moments out on the street, but there are a lot of times where people don't want to be a part of your frame. They don't want to be a part of your art. And those can lead to some very tense moments. And so in this video, I want to cover how to handle those tense moments, what your mentality should be after those moments, and how do you move forward from those tense moments out on the street. In the heat of the moment and after, that's what separates photographers who end up quitting street photography versus photographers who stick with it. Of course, I'm in a different city now, as you all know, but those same lessons have traveled me throughout time. So after that confrontation, you know, one of the main things that stuck with me was that the fact that though I left the situation unscathed, right, I ended up putting my camera up for a while thinking that I would take a break and I would then go out and still take photos after I took a short reprieve. But I ended up not picking up my camera for the rest of the day. And those type of moments after those type of situations can really dictate if you're going to keep going or if you're going to stop. And so you want to be able to refocus yourself so that you don't let somebody ruin your whole day or your whole session of street photography. So I come in with a couple tips and a system that have helped me throughout situations past just that one, because I did have a couple more run-ins similar to that situation, not as tense. And so I do want to give you these tips on how I was able to handle those situations. Tip one is definitely going to be to de-escalate. I'm going to go ahead and tell you all right now, nothing is worth your life. This art form that we do, the things that we do out on the street, is not worth you dying over. Now, of course, I've told a lot of photographers and a lot of older photographers know to carry a weapon, but at the end of the day, we don't want to have to use a weapon, especially for a situation that can be diffused, which is the best option. You want to make sure that you can de-escalate the situation by smiling, making sure that you apologize and that you move on. You don't want to get into long, lengthy explanations while on the street. Just try to de-escalate and then move on. Now, tip number three is definitely going to be for the newer street photographers, especially if you're starting out, you don't have anybody to go out on the street with. It's going to be shoot where cameras are expected. So busy shopping areas, tourist areas in your city, somewhere where you know large crowds like to congregate, because typically it's going to be assumed that people are going to be taking photos there. And so you don't look out of place, especially if you're new. Now, of course, from a more seasoned vet, You're gonna find places that are a little bit more unique. Of course, you have to use your nuance in the first 2 tips in order to get out of any sticky situations that you might find yourself in. But you definitely want to make sure that you go ahead and start in places where people already expect there to be photography happening. That way it's a low stake entry and that you're able to really get the shots that you're looking for without somebody pressing. And here's a tip about street photography that nobody really talks about a lot. It's about intentionality. When you're out there just hunting for shots on the street, you look like you don't know what you're doing, and people can kind of feel that energy. Versus when you have a specific subject like light, shadows, a certain color that you're trying to go out and capture, then people feel that, they feel that intentionality. You look like you going somewhere, you look like you're on a job, and people feel that and they have a little bit more respect for that type of energy. So when you're going out, you want to make sure that you're intentional with the way that you're going out to photograph, and that you do go out and photograph with a very specific thought process in mind and not just winging it when you're out on the street. Tip number 5 is something that I did mention earlier in the video, which is don't let one confrontation end your whole day. I could have easily let the gym rat win that day, and he did for the most part, where I didn't approach the day with the same intentionality. But you don't want to let that end your day. If you want to just set your camera down, you need to check your phone, get on social media for a moment, do that, but then pick your camera up and shoot anything just to reset. You don't want your last image to be the image of the confrontation or to be a reminder of that moment, and let that person control your energy and outcome for the day, which is to go out and capture moments. So you want to reset, make sure you get back out there. So here's the bottom line. Street photography is about documenting life. As we go out there on the street, we want to make sure that you're documenting life, you're capturing moments, you're not doing anything wrong. But sometimes life pushes back and you have to know how to deal with that. That day with that gym rat, when I was out on the street, my boy Jordy, I didn't handle it the best. But I'm gonna tell you that the lessons I learned from that day have carried with me on, and those are things that I've learned to adjust, reset, and make sure I continue capturing moments. And just like this situation, even though College Square and the High Museum of Art area is a great place to shoot, and a lot of people do take photos in those areas, I just so happened to come across the wrong person at the wrong time on the wrong day. Of course, that wasn't a bad area to shoot, but you want to make sure that, hey, if somebody does ask you to not take photos of them, that you don't. I want to hear from you all in the comments. Have you ever been confronted while shooting street? How did you handle it? Let's share these stories so we can help other photographers know you're not alone out there. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, do all the things that help this channel grow. We're building a community here of photographers helping photographers grow. Iron sharpens iron, and like always, I'm gonna see y'all on the next one.